Hey guys, what I do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha the God. Now, this video is going to be a what if scenario, right? So we're just assuming here that Sukuna has won the fight. So because Sukuna has won the fight, we're going to say, kind of try to predict what would happen next in order for the story to go forward. Maybe who would end up defeating them or him, and would he even be defeated? Would Kenjaku and Ko just win, etc., etc. Now I'm gonna throw out a few theories. Some maybe other people have already come up with, but I'm just thinking of it myself. I haven't really watched many theory videos on Jujutsu Kaisen, so let's begin. So Gojo is dead. Sukuna wins, right? So this is the first scenario. Gojo's dead. Sukuna wins. He just outright defeats him. He's probably gonna be wrecked. He's probably gonna be tired. Kenjaku pulls up. Kenjaku takes him, kind of like a curse, right? But I know he can't be taken like a curse because my Haraga couldn't kill him with positive energy, because he was human, but Maharaga didn't know because he was both. So let's say Kenjaku comes and tries to absorb him or does something, right? And he uses that to create his calamity, right? This is the scenario where Gojo and Sukuna are dead, because again, there's always the question, if Sukuna is alive and Gojo is dead, who the fuck is gonna stop Sukuna in the good side, right? And I'll also talk about if Sukuna stays alive. So Kenjaku does his thing. The team obviously pull up, try to just to take Gojo's body alone, just to pull up to take Gojo's body, and they get into a confrontation with Kenjaku. Kenjaku escapes because he's completely outnumbered, and even if he's strong, he's not about to face Maki, Yuji, fucking Yuta, Hakari, Kusakabe, and all of these dudes, like Chozo, all of them simultaneously. Like, he's not about to run a fucking 1v7, 8, 9, 10. You know what I mean? So he leaves and flees and goes to continue his plan, and he brings up that calamity, and obviously the crew. Because again, the fulfillment to end the culling game is that him, Kenjaku, and Sukuna die. So obviously, I think the chances of this theory being true are very, very low. Because why would he kill half of the people that he wants to stay alive? You know what I'm saying? And I think perhaps one of the reasons he chose Megumi to stay alive is because even if Gojo wins, Gojo's going to try to save Megumi. And even if they stop Kenjaku, the culling game continues because Megumi is alive, or Sukuna wins and therefore Megumi is still alive. So Kenjaku really 3D, 4D, 6D this shit, right? So I think that's probably the weakest theory, because I don't see Kenjaku doing that, mainly because of what I just stated. So let's say Sukuna stays alive, wins, and Gojo is just dead, annihilated. Again, I think the crew pull up with the speed, force, right? Perhaps Kenjaku comes to back him up, maybe not. But I reckon Ice Lady pulls up and flees with Sukuna so that he has time to heal. Because Sukuna is not running the fade with all of them in that condition. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, Sukuna's strong as shit, but he's not running the fade with all of his crew in the condition that he's gonna be in by the time let's say he had won this fight. So boom, they escape, they replan, and Yuta and them go on a rampage. Because I can imagine Yuta especially going on an absolute tear through every colony. Because now they can cross colonies to every colony, just killing every curse, every revived sorcerer, leveling up, powering up, looking for Kenjaku. All the crew just going on a rampage for Gojo's sake, right? I don't think Gojo's technique can be copied, so I don't see Yuta being able to take it, just because I think the Six Eyes and Limitless are such a unique trait, and they're connected by fate or destiny, etc. So I don't think that's gonna work, right? But maybe he tries. Maybe he even eats a piece of Maki. Maybe that gets him even stronger. I don't know if it works in that way, since Maki is the reverse of having zero curse, so probably you can't. But he tries to, maybe he copies everybody in the crew's Hakari's jackpot, everything, bro, and he just goes ham. And the crew, and then Yuji, gets his soul thing super maxed out. Maki surpasses, which I think actually is a possibility, surpasses even the Toji himself. So passes Toji and just breaks his limit, because I think Gojo dying would push, mentally just amp these kids to the next stage. I think initially they'll crack, but I think they will break out of that cocoon and come out way stronger. Now, I think if this is the scenario, Yuji may end up defeating Sukuna with the help of the gang, while Kenjaku goes and does his plan, because he could be like, listen, I'm gonna go do my plan. You hold off these guys when they find them. And Sukuna would have been healed. And Sukuna opens Malevolent Shrine, but Hakari, because again, Hakari's domain is said to be really, really good in a tug of war. It specifically said, and I think that's some kind of foreshadowing because it will be used for later. So Hakari's the one that opens his domain, not Yuta, not the rest. Hakari opens his domain, and his domain, because I think his domain maybe wins that tug of war for some reason. I don't know how, or even not wins, but delays Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine enough. Excuse me. It delays it enough that Yuta and Co apply pressure on Sukuna enough so that he can't sustain Malevolent Shrine and he breaks. You know what I'm saying? And that's Kakari's job. And then obviously he hits jackpot, goes in, ham, and they just try to keep him busy for 4 minutes, make sure that he can't move his hand signs, and that's kind of the win stipulation. If Hakari can't open his domain, they lose. You know what I'm saying? So they have to make sure when Hakari has his domain closed, they are applying extra pressure, otherworldly. So they're just attacking. Now, it is Yuta, Maki, and Hakari simultaneously, hand to hand. And we know Gojo was giving this boy the mitts. So we know that the three of these kids will be able to give him the mitts as well. Now, obviously, he be throwing slashes. He be doing all type of shit. Yuta's job will be also healing dudes, right? Because he's the only one that can actually heal other people that's gonna be there fighting. Maki is the heavy hitter, so she's gonna be invisible to even Sukuna. So she'd be kind of hiding in the bushes with that sword, man. You know what I'm saying? Hiding in the bushes, bro. And she gonna pull out, slash. Okay, I'll be back. Teleport, you know what I'm saying? They come up with some kind of tactic and no attacking. Now, two scenarios can happen here. Eventually, the kids outsmart, overwhelm, or just figure out a way to defeat Sukuna. Obviously, Mahoraga is probably going to be summoned immediately type situation because he's like, okay, if I can just deal with Hakari, with Mahoraga, then I can deal with everybody else because nobody else can touch my Malevolent Shrine for some reason. Now, again, we also know that if three domains clash, all domains cancel. So another option that the kids have if they fight together is Hakari and Yuta's job is to be ready to open a domain, while Yuji and Maki attack head on, right? And then Rika is the one that she appears like Yuta tells her to appear in front of the guys in order to take any lethal blows, right? Or to protect any of the Maki and Yuji, to protect them from lethal blows and her to dissipate, and then he can summon her back after a few minutes so that, then they can keep applying pressure and attacking while the two of them cancel out the domain expansion. So they're looking at Sukuna and their main attention is just on Sukuna. If he's about to summon, they summon. So three domains clashes, cancels out. What the same thing that happened when in Sendai Colony when Yuta was fighting Ryu and them, right? So that's another scenario and another possibility for them to win. So there's actually quite a few possibilities for them to cancel out Sukuna. Now, Mahoraga poses a completely different problem because if he summons Mahoraga, it's going to be very hard to defeat because you have to one-shot it. And I don't really think anybody has the AP to one-shot it. Maki potentially does because of the sword. And so it's a matter of maybe Yuta sending one of those massive granite blasts or curse energy blasts at Mahoraga, draws attention. Hakari pulls up, punches it, and Maki pulls up and chops his head off with the sword, right? So that's a potential there. But then Sukuna is there, so Sukuna could just protect it from Maki, etc. So there's so many potentials here. But we'll say Yuji figures out a way to stun Sukuna with that soul transfer in the clutch second, right? And boom, Sukuna is paralyzed for a second. They get rid of Mahoraga because I do think Yuta, Maki, and Hakari can kill Mahoraga. One way or another, they'll figure that shit out. They can do it. And we still don't know other techniques that Yuta has used or copied, right? He can even scream, stop, to Sukuna. Now, it might only stop him for a fraction of a second, a millisecond, whatever it is. It's enough because all they need is a second. Every second counts. So there's so many things here that can come into play that can help the kids win. So let's say the kids win, they kill Sukuna. Boom. Now, I'm not going to really talk about scenarios if Sukuna wins because it just ends. Let's say, okay, the scenario here, Sukuna won. Boom, it's done. Kenjaku's plan goes, the world is over. GG's, right? So that's whatever. So I'm just going to talk about how the young kids, the next generation can overcome this. Now, if they do defeat Sukuna one way or another, they defeat Sukuna, Yuji plays the most pivotal role, gets the fade, gets the revenge, saves Megumi. Oh, they failed to save Megumi, right? So we're gonna say they save Megumi here first, and Megumi comes back, regains Mahoraga, stops Mahoraga, da 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 da. And as he does that, they go after Kenjaku, and Kenjaku's monster is already there. That crazy big ass monster is already there, and now the kids have leveled up even further after defeating Sukuna, right? And since they've leveled up so far, they go fight that thing, and they kill Kenjaku first. They get rid of Kenjaku, but that thing is left, and they all die in order to stop that thing, and maybe only Yuji's left, or they all die and they lose, right? That's another way it could also happen. Or they all team up and they win, and the next generation is here, and Yuta is the leader. Yuji, Megumi, let's go. Nobara comes back just because Nobara comes back. You know what I'm saying? So that's another scenario. And another one is, Kenjaku. I don't really think Kenjaku can betray Sukuna here, but Kenjaku joins the fight, and while the beast is being summoned, but I think that's really unrealistic because I think he's gonna be doing his thing. He's gonna let Sukuna fight by himself, and Sukuna's gonna want to fight by himself. I think he'd want to take on the challenge. So we can split the team in two. So we got the Sukuna crew and the Kenjaku crew. Now I know Yuta said he's gonna go after Kenjaku, but it just doesn't make any sense if he does that while Yuji and them are fighting Sukuna, but I think I can see Yuta trusting Hakari. So we can say Hakari, Maki, Yuji, ye take care of Sukuna, or hold them off. I will be back. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you have to remember that he can replenish his curse energy pretty rapidly. After a fight, after a few minutes, he can just summon Rika and replenish, right? He's kind of hacks in his own way in that department. So, and he might just do a binding vow against Sukuna where he's like, Rika, I will lose you forever. And curse energy, you can take my soul too. Let me be able to do this shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yuta is a crazy motherfucker. He will sacrifice himself, no problem, for to win, right? And I think that could be a case here where they split up and the guys are struggling, dying, trying to hold off against Sukuna, and Yuta comes back and clutches up and they win that way. So they stop Kenjaku first, then they finish with Sukuna. So that could be another way that it could end. What do you guys think? What are the potential ways that the story can unfold and go? I do think Yuta will have the fade with Kenjaku. I do think Yuji will get his fade with Sukuna if he does win against Gojo here. And yeah, I purposely got rid of Gojo in every scenario here because I'm going to do a Gojo video if he won and do his scenarios there. Now I already have a video on that. I think there's probably going to be a stalemate where both of them are going to die or be incapacitated, and something else is going to happen. Something else, a play is going to happen here. But that's just my thoughts. But I thought this might be a cool concept and an idea to discuss. But what do you guys think? Comment down below. Let me know. It's been your boy Supreme Uchiha the God. I'm out. Oh, subscribe.